again. We're gonna get real today. This video is all about feelings and the emotional roller coaster that is moving abroad. As some of you know, I deal with some anxiety and depression, and I have for a long time. And those feelings are super heightened when you make a huge life transition, especially when you're in a brand new place like China. There's a lot of information online that go through the typical phases of culture shock. I would definitely say the emotional phases I went through are similar, but the articles about culture shock really don't get into like a personal experience type story. So that's why I wanted to share this today. I went through 5 very distinct phases when we moved abroad. And now that I've been here for 3 months, I would say I obviously have emotions just like anyone else, but my emotions are about the same level as they were back when I was settled into my life in San Francisco. Sometimes life can be a little bit more frustrating, especially since I don't speak Chinese. So little things can be a little bit more frustrating here, but I'd say overall, my emotions have definitely leveled out quite a bit. So, phase 1, grief. Basically, as soon as we left my parents' house in Washington and I said goodbye to my dog, I was a wreck. And part of this is because I really love my dog. He's totally my little baby. He's actually a really big baby. He's like 80 pounds. Pretty much right when I said goodbye to him, I started crying. My parents drove us to the shuttle stop where we were getting on a shuttle to go to the airport in Seattle. I cried in my parents' car, I cried at the shuttle stop, I cried on the shuttle, and then I cried at the airport. I had my moments of feeling excited and that nervous excitement that's like when you do something they've never done before and you are looking forward to it, but at the same time you're really worried. I had all those feelings too, but more than anything else, I would just break down into tears uncontrollably in public. And that's how grieving looked for me. I'd say that lasted maybe 5 days. We flew to Korea, stayed overnight, and then flew to Shanghai, and then came to Nanjing. And after that point, we were probably in Nanjing for maybe 4 days when I finally stopped waking up and just immediately bursting into tears because I was in China. And I know that sounds like I didn't want to be here, but I do. I want to be here. It's just, that's what happened with my emotions. So, stage 2, frustration. Once I passed that grieving stage, I was really ready to settle into a new routine and adjust to my new life in China and get things going and get to a point where I felt comfortable. Trying to develop a new routine in a country where you don't speak the language is incredibly frustrating. And I'm honestly considering doing a whole separate video about what it's like to live in a country where you don't speak the language. But basically, when we first got here, I didn't know where the grocery stores were. I didn't know how to ask where the grocery stores were. I didn't know how to connect to Wi-Fi. I didn't know what I was going to eat for dinner. I didn't know how to order food out. I didn't know whether the person at the grocery store was asking me if I had a smaller bill or needed a bag. I didn't know how to do all those basic things. I still don't know what our washing machine says on it. I just know what buttons to push now. Daily life was frustrating at every turn. Phase 3, invincibility. Once I passed the point where I was able to understand how much things cost at the market, whether the cashier was asking me if I wanted a bag or had a membership card, I was able to understand so many more things over time. And this probably took, a couple weeks of being here, maybe even a month. I was learning my numbers, which was really exciting, and I figured out the subway system. So I was able to either ride my bike or take the subway on my own and go explore Nanjing, and I felt comfortable enough and, all the basics. So I was feeling like Nanjing's my playground. I am an awesome explorer. That feeling where I'm like, bring it on, China, inevitably led to stage 4, defeat. I don't like to talk about defeat very much because I've never seen myself as someone who gives up very easily, but it was kind of inevitable. If you follow my blog, you probably remember when we tried to go to Yellow Mountain, also known as Huangshan, and we had a little bit of an issue where we ended up at the wrong railway station and we missed our train, so we didn't get to go. So that whole week beforehand, I had already started to feel really helpless and like I couldn't do anything on my own, and I was just having like a bad week. And when that whole thing with Huangshan happened, it totally knocked me down. I remember this moment when Eric and I were in the wrong railway station and we were supposed to be boarding our train pretty much right then, and it was boarding on the other side of the city and we knew we were gonna miss it. And I remember saying to Eric, "This is why I don't belong in China. I can't do anything on my own." That was probably one of my lowest points in China. But we actually ended up planning like a last minute trip to Shanghai, and things were feeling better and I was feeling like I could do things by myself. After a while, I slowly started to regain confidence. The feeling of being totally knocked down and then picking myself back up again led to stage 5, humility. I still have times of feeling frustrated, invincible, defeated. Like, I have little moments like that. I think the grieving stage is honestly over. When you make a big life transition and you do something new and exciting, you inevitably are giving something up. So I was kind of grieving that loss of that phase of my life. And so I don't really go back to that grieving stage anymore. I have moments of frustration like I did in the States. I have moments where I feel like Nanjing's my playground, and I felt that way about San Francisco at different points. And I also have moments of feeling defeated from time to time. I don't think I've had a really low, like, I give up moment in a little while, but I've definitely had my fair share of moments where I consider what it would be like to go back home. So, humility. I realized I was kind of in the stage of humility around the time of the Qingming festival, which is Tomb Sweeping Day in China. I didn't really know much about this festival, but Eric had the day off, which was cool. And I remember going out to get groceries and coming back, and our neighbors had made this pile of like these gold packets, like paper packets, and they put them on the ground in this pile. And then when I came back, they had lit the packets on fire and they were in ashes and they were burning to the ground. And I was thinking, what on earth are they doing? In that moment, I was like, I have no idea, and it's totally okay that I have no idea. I was kind of in this like Zen state of mind where I was just open to learning, and I accepted the fact that I really didn't know much about China, and that has allowed me to learn so much more. This phase has by far been the best stage of moving abroad. You're in this place where you're not a native and you know you'll never be a native, but at the same time, it's okay that you don't really know anything, and you realize that people want to teach you, and the internet wants to teach you, and there's so much to learn, so many new things to try, so many new experiences. When you're going through some really difficult emotional phases, you can forget the cool things that are around you and the new experiences that are around you. I guess about a month and a half into my time in China, I was hitting that point of feeling really humble and open and excited. This is the honking that happens in China. Now that I've lived here for more than 3 months, I'm just continuing to learn. I'm honestly really happy. I'm back into a routine. Daily things aren't super frustrating. We're making friends. I get to explore. I'm learning. I'm blogging. It's a really fun time. If you have any questions about China, please don't hesitate to comment below. Thanks so much for watching. I'll talk to you soon. No. And we knew. What?